Hey, everybody, welcome to the Fitless podcast. I am John D'Ambrosio. I am with Blain Dusing, and we are going to discuss something pretty cool today. Blain, you take the lead on this?
Sure. So I had texted John. One of my clients had came in on Monday, and apparently this client has a very close friend that is a functional fitness individual that goes to the group exercise classes to slam medicine balls and shake ropes and whatever they do there. And he was asking my client pertaining to what he does in my gym. And I'd recorded a few of his videos, and he's a member of my Facebook hit page. And so he ended up showing his friend, and he said his friend was just appalled, like, oh my God, if you train slow, you are going to be slow. None of these movements, resemble anything in the real world. And apparently went on this tangent about, how his training is functional and how it's for real world applicability. And, you got to train explosive if you want to be explosive. Basically everything we know to be false. And he wanted to know, because he was kind of perturbed by that, and he kind of wanted to know how to rebuttal. And I just said, just always stay calm first and foremost, yelling and getting your point across, but just ask him, outside of specific sporting activities, when do you ever see humans speeding around at high movements? Because the last time I've been to an airport, the last time I've walked in my neighborhood, the last time I've been to my grocery store, nobody's stocking the shelves at high speeds. Nobody's loading the baggage claim at high speeds. There's nothing applicable about moving fast unless you are specifically skill training for that particular activity. And I told him also, just ask him, when in any real world instance have you ever had to violently shake ropes, jump on and off of an elevated box, take a medicine ball and jump above, throw it up against the wall and catch it down in a squat position, all the things that he does during his functional training, when in the real world does he do those? Because in my real world, you're going to have to push things like this overhead press emulates. You're going to have to pull things like a row or a pull down would emulate. In my opinion, high intensity strength training is the most functional form of exercise, but it's just so funny that some of my clients have to deal with their friends and family members watching this thinking, well, if you're going to train slow, you're going to be slow. And I probably shouldn't have said this, and I was joking around because I'm 6'5" and I'm a big boy. And I'm like, well, if he were to come into my house and hypothetically make a threat, does he think that if he went to hit me because I train slow, I would have to react in slow motion? No, I would destroy him because I'm big, strong, and fast. My speed has absolutely nothing to do with the way that I train or vice versa. Speed
And that's
is a specific skill, and if you're training for something that demands a specific skill, by all means do that training. But if you're doing it because you think it's functional in your day-to-day activity, it is not.
It isn't, and that's the real confusion about, I think, functional fitness is they feel it translates over, a medicine ball. Well, you're picking up your kids, you're picking up groceries, but things don't work that way. What happens is either you build strength and muscle by training at to or close to failure, and your muscles actually get stronger, or you get neurologically better when doing something like a CrossFit at those activities, but they don't translate. And an analogy that I thought was really interesting is you always used to see, and maybe you still do, but the batting, people waiting to get up at bat, and they're swinging the bats and they have the weighted donuts on the end, and they're, swinging. It's like they're getting ready because when they take that off, they're going to knock the ball out of the park. They've actually done studies with speed cameras, and you're actually 1 to 2 seconds slower in your swing after taking that off and going because your brain is trying to calibrate what's going on. Even something as specific as using a weighted bat right before you go up does not translate over to you swinging faster immediately afterwards. And then saying, well, doing those wall balls or doing those burpees is going to translate to real life. It does not happen. You may be exhausted because you're metabolically exhausted. You've burnt out your reserves to be able to flush out the waste products of the exercise, but you are not training the muscles to failure. You're just at a metabolic failure. And those are two distinctly different things. You training to actual failure is making those muscles stronger. Making the muscles stronger allows you to get through activities of daily living much better because now you have a solid base, you have a strong foundation. You can go through the basic movements, and that will translate because you're doing those exact movements. But if you're trying to say, "Oh, I'm going to be swinging the battle ropes," what does that translate into? How does that ever pertain to real life? I don't get it.
I don't know, and a lot of them think that there's carryover onto other skill activities or sports, and again, that is 100% false. Doing one activity does not make you better at another. There is specific skill conditioning, and then there's everything else. But I would see, back when I was training in different gyms, people would be doing these weird movements, saying they were warming up before their tennis match, and they're emulating these movements that they would never do on a tennis court. And like playing tennis is going to get you no better at ice hockey. Playing ice hockey is going to get you no better at running. Running will get you no better at swimming. You could be the best runner in the world. You start swimming laps, you might be metabolically fatigued because you haven't practiced that specific skill.
And that's so true. I mean, I've worked out with people who did literal Ironman, not the fake Iron. This is the real full blown out Ironman. And they were going to CrossFit at the time, and they tanked on certain things. And you think, well, they're Ironmen; they should be able to do it all. The movements they weren't familiar with, they could not do. And speaking to them, I said, well, do you train for anything? I know you're a great runner. I can run great, but if I don't train for the bike and I don't train for the swimming, it's over for me because I won't make it through that. It's like, well, if your heart and all of this activity translates over just like CrossFit says, shouldn't you be able to do one thing or be really good at CrossFit and then burn through a triathlon like it was nothing? Your body adapts to specific movements and gets better at them. You want to be a better swimmer, swim more. You want to be a better bench presser, bench more. But those don't translate naturally over into, well, I'm a better bench presser, so now I'm going to be a better boxer because I'm kind of doing the same movement. You may have more explosive power, but the skill does not transfer.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. And to kind of go back to piggyback off of your weighted donut on the baseball bat, I remember back when I was in high school, I played basketball for 4 years. I was never very good, but our coach was supposedly very good. I mean, I don't really have anything to compare him to, but after our high school, he went on to coach some high-level D1 teams. And like I said, I was never very good, but he would, now that we're having this conversation, this popped in my head, he would, because we would listen to our strength coach from high school, and he would have us strength train for a full hour before a practice, because he would say things like, oh, if you get used to shooting the ball when you're tired, you're going to be better in the real game. And I don't know if you've ever tried to like shoot a ball or throw a ball after you strength trained. You will never see more missed shots or free throws in your life. We were chucking up air balls because we're so tired, and they were thinking things like that were beneficial. Where in all reality, in a real game, you're going to come in fresh, not having lifted a weight, because it's going to pre-fatigue the muscles before the game. Like, why did we even do that? And we used to do it all the time. And then he would make us shoot free throws, and every time you missed, you would have to do a suicide. Well, everybody's chucking bricks because we just did 10 sets of the bench press, 10 sets of pull down, 10 sets of squats, and now we're supposed to shoot a free throw, and our legs are wobbling. And then he would make us run suicides after that. So we're just metabolically just dead, and he's screaming at us. We're throwing up on the side. It was horrible ideas now in retrospect. Now that I know what I know about exercise, I want to go back in time and be like, dude, do you see what you're doing to this? It's terrible ideas.
Oh, that's the worst. And not only are you fatigued muscularly, but again, your nervous system is shot from that too. And you need that nervous system coordination to be able to make those shots. I mean, can you imagine doing, 10 sets of curls to failure and then getting a sniper rifle and trying to hit a target? You'd be all over the place. You wouldn't be able to hold still because you're shaking.
Anything. You could be a fantastic golfer, and if I put you through a high-intensity workout and then gave you a driver, you're going to short your regular drive by 75 to 100 yards, if you even hit the ball.
Yeah, I remember there's a study, you may remember it. I'm a little foggy on the details, but some team took up Arthur Jones's high-intensity training. It was a football team.
Was it the Dolphins?
No, it was a college team, I think.
Oh, okay.
But they had, what they had done, they weren't doing really well. They decided to take up his training, but they separated. So instead of doing all these stupid drills on the field, the agility stuff, the ladders, all they did was they did high intensity training. They did the strength training and they separated it. And in the field, they just practiced football. That's all they did. They played scrimmage games against each other and they just refined their football skills. No other nonsense. And in the gym, they just refined their strength. And they went on, I think they won 5 championships in a row or something like that. Again, I
Nice.
don't remember the team or the definite logistics of it, but it was right along those lines. When they separated it and pulled out all the nonsense, plyometric stuff, and they just you focus on playing football and getting good at football. That is your skill. You focus on getting stronger in the gym using high intensity training to build the strength. That brought success for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing that popped in my head pertaining to the specific skill conditioning, because you said the donut on the bat, which is a terrible idea, especially for professional athletes in major league. And again, we don't know why they do that. I'm going to steal one more, and I don't know if it was from when I talked to Doug McGuff on the phone or it was from one of his interviews and podcasts, but he said when you're at that elite level for a professional athlete, their skill set is so specific that if, I think his analogy was something in the NBA, that if you want to see most of the NBA players absolutely fail and see how specific their skills are, raise or lower the rim 1/8 of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Yeah.
will immediately be chucking up bricks because they are so fine-tuned and they are so good at shooting the ball. It's the way it's supposed to be shot. That if you just tilt that rim one way or another, 1/8 of an inch, they're going to be chucking bricks. And I never thought about that, but it's probably wholeheartedly true.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at a concert pianist, you put weighted gloves on them so they could play faster, and then you take the gloves off. Do you really think they're going to play faster, or it's just going to be a nightmare? It's not going to translate over to a better pianist.
No, I know, but when you say it as a pianist, that's pretty funny to think it's applicable to sports, and then you use that analogy. That's pretty funny. Just picturing a pianist with weighted gloves on and then trying to play Mozart after that, just bombing.
Exactly. I mean, skill is skill, and I think people overlook that. They just kind of think, again, the translation and and it's an overused term, but drinking the Kool-Aid when it comes to the functional fitness, whether it's a CrossFit or whatever they've supposedly rebranded it as, or a boot camp or things like that. I mean, yeah, you're going to get sweaty, your heart rate's going to go up, you're going to be metabolically tanked. Are you going to be building muscle? I did, and I'm not proud of it, but I did CrossFit for 10 years, most times twice a day, 5 days a week. My physique did not change. My skill level got better on certain movements, but my physique did not change. All of the people I saw that went in and out of CrossFit over those 10 years, nobody's body changed. Most people left either because they got bored, they got upset because nothing was really changing short of the newbie gains. They got better at a snatch, or they got injured. I saw concussions, I saw fractures, I saw so many injuries there. Um, it just didn't translate. And the people who were good at CrossFit because that's just kind of the way they were built. They came in looking good, they came in excellent at things, and they just continued to be that. But the people who came in off the street who were not good, yeah, they got marginally better at certain things. But if they didn't modify their diet, and most of them didn't, they started with the paleo way back, and then it had to be the paleo cupcakes and the paleo brownies and the paleo peanut butter cups. uh, they looked exactly the same and they sweat just as much, and they felt like they were part of something. But did their health improve? Maybe marginally from moving if they just sat on the couch, but their strength didn't improve. They got neurologically better at a few things, but it didn't translate over into, wow, I'm living a better life, I'm not falling as much, I'm much stronger. I'm better at wall balls. Great, good for
Yeah.
you.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've got about, I'd say 5 to 7 previous CrossFitters, and I've converted them all to this, and they don't, nothing hurts anymore. They all feel
Hmm.
better. It's crazy, and they, say what you say. I can't believe I did it for that long, and I never looked any different. And here I am, after 6 months to a year, and I'm a completely different person, training 25% of the time that I was, wasting all that time.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
I mean, I did it so long because I was good at it. If I was absolutely horrible at it, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it for more than a year or two. But, I was good. I was great at, deadlift. I was great at pull-ups and push-ups and dips and things like that. So, I excelled at a lot of the different things that they did. So I felt like, wow, this is good for me. I'm really good here. I stand out. In reality, it was just me doing something I was good at. I didn't get much better at things. I didn't look, like I said, I did not look better. I've seen pictures of me back then compared to now. I look better now not doing that and training once every 5 days versus twice a day, 5 days a week. And, ooh, look at my Murph time or my Cindy time. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, you probably thought the way I used to think. I used to think more is better. It's hard to get
Yeah,
out of that. It's hard to get out of that mental philosophy. It took me a long time to unplug to this type of training. A
it's
very
true. And
long time.
even with this, I mean, sometimes you think, well, I'm doing this. Well, maybe I should add an exercise here. And all of a sudden you start creeping up. It's like, well, I'm doing 8 exercise. Well, now I'm doing, how did I get to 18 exercises? What's going on? And then you have to kind of start peeling back again. But it's just human nature. You think more is better because that's what everything you read tells you. And it's not true.
Yeah, I've made that mistake so many times. Like, I think Doug Simmons was the one that made me go back down to 2 days a week super slow. And every once in a while, not within the last year or two, I've learned my lesson, but even when I first started out with him, I'd be like, you know what, I think I can do 3 days a week. And I would throw just something small, three or four, two compounds, two isolations on that third day, being like, this isn't going to overdo it. I felt horrible every time I went to 3 days a week. Every single time. You'd think I'd have like the definition of insanity on my wall. Like,
Hmm.
keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, man. No, it doesn't work that way. So now I just stay at twice a week. It just works.
It's true. And a lot of times, admittedly, initially, you're like, wow, this is great. This is the best. Why haven't I done 3 days a week before? This feels good. But it's very short. When you train as intense as we do, and we could generate, because we've been doing this for years, we can generate a lot more intensity than the general public. You're a trainer, so you could make sure your clients generate that level of intensity that they would not without you being there. But the amount is so much that cumulatively, very quickly, you get into overtraining where 2 weeks you feel great, and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I didn't sleep that well. What's going on? My lifts are kind of not. I don't really feel like being in the gym right now. I usually look forward to getting in and getting out. Now I don't feel like going. Oh, it's that third day. Let me pull it out. Let me take a few extra rest days, and you're great again."
Yeah, I mean, the only time I ever deter from this now is if I go on a vacation, and then I will go back to something ridiculously stupid that I would never follow through with in real life. But I would do like one or two sets every single day. Just do like a compound and an isolation and do that for like 5 or 6 days in a row. But when you're on vacation and you have all day to recover and you're laying by a pool or you're relaxing or you're taking naps, yeah, if I did that every single day, 5 days a week, I could probably get away with that for about 3 weeks and then it would start to catch up and I'd feel like crap. But that's the only time I ever deter is if I'm on a vacation and they have a gym with new toys that I want to play with, then
Right.
I'll go do a pull down and a tricep press. The next day I'll do a leg press or an overhead press. Just toy around with stuff, but not to consider it a real workout, just to get something in there. But yeah, twice a week I do 6 exercises each, 12 total sets per week, and most people don't even believe that at my size.
Yeah, and I mean that's all you need. I do 9 exercises once every 5 days, and you rest how long? That's what works for me because of the intensity I could generate, and I've played with it. I've done the 72 hours, I've done the 96, I've done the 48. This right now for me at this point in time is my sweet spot. Will it become longer as I age? I don't know. Maybe will it become shorter if something change? I really don't know. That's the other thing we always talk about. People say, "What's optimal?" Optimal is a
Oh,
moving target. It changes all the time
oh my
because
God.
your recovery changes, life changes. You start working a new job, you have other stresses. You may have to decrease the number of times you work out. It's just that's
Yeah, I
life.
think we talked about that last time, right? The optimal, what's ideal, all
Yeah.
that. Okay, yeah, we won't harp on that again. Those are my favorite online questions. What's the best for? Man, I don't know you. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
What will you do? What will you do?
Right.
I don't know anything about you, so I can't answer that question.
Yep, and I like something we had talked about before we got on the call. You talked about the guy who had traveled and missed a bunch of days and wanted to drop his weight when he came back to you. And this kind of highlights everything we've just discussed in a beautiful real life example.
Yeah, so back to the adequate recovery being absolutely imperative. I just had a client come back on Monday. He's been gone for a full month. Him and his wife went to Ireland on some excursion, so he was gone. And he came back in and he said, I was really good for 2 weeks. He's like, I went to the gym once, sometimes twice, did full body, really tried to push myself, but not as hard as you pushed me. And he said, the last 2 weeks, I just said, F it, it's vacation, I give up. He's like, I admit I ate like crap, I rested, I slept in, I didn't go to the gym. He said, we did walk a lot to sightsee, which, that's advantageous. But he came in and he said, you know what, I think we should just back off everything, maybe a plate or two, and then just kind of slowly get me back into it. And I said, let's just see what happens. I'm going to pin you at the weights that you left at. If you short the set, then we'll transition to negative only, and I'll bring it up or I'll pull it down, and you just note the negatives until we get to the 90 seconds to 100 seconds. And he said, okay, we'll try it. And he blew every single exercise at his current weight out of the water by 20 to 30 seconds, all-time bests, after he said he did absolutely nothing for 2 weeks. So if that doesn't tell you that recovery is absolutely imperative. His body was at full rest, no stress, just 2 weeks of sleep and relaxation, walking with his wife. And he came back in here and knocked it out of the park. I will see him again tomorrow for his B routine, and I will keep all of his weights exactly where they are.
And he may even learn something from that. He may come in after that and say, you know what, I don't feel as good. Can we throw an extra rest day in there? I mean, do you get that often where people have trained with you long enough where they actually have that realization, I could benefit from an added rest day? Usually I would think people, can I train 3 times a week? Can we add more exercises? Do you ever actually have people who are so in tune after working with you that they go the opposite way and actually say, I think I could do better with less?
Um, Good question. I don't know. Typically, I'm the one that has to back them off because they're still, even though they are working with me, like I said, I generally start people with a bunch of exercises and then slowly dial back as they get better. But they get used to me and they understand that less ends up being more. So, I'm sorry, I already forgot the second part of the question you asked. My apologies. Where was I going with that?
Oh, it was just really, have people ever asked you and said, hey, can we cut back? I think I'll do better. Like this
Oh,
guy,
absolutely,
will he come
absolutely.
back and
Like
say,
yeah, I've got a lot of people that will play pickleball and tennis, things like that. So if they're fatigued, and again, it also depends on proximity. Like I train a lot of people in my neighborhood, but I train a good handful that do drive. Some people drive 30, 45 minutes just to, have me beat them up for 15 minutes. Those people generally never miss because of their slots and because they have to drive the 30, 45 minutes. The neighbors in the neighborhood, yes, they'll be like, oh my God, I played tennis late last night. I didn't sleep well. Do you think we should take a rest day? Yes. If I have a cancellation, I'll book you on, or I'll take rollovers on a Saturday morning. I'll generally take 3, 4, or 5 people on Saturday until about noon, and then I'm done. But yeah, I mean, they'll say, oh, my legs are really sore from this or that. I'm like, okay, we're going to do a handful of upper body exercises, and that's going to be it. There's no point in you pushing through a heavy leg press if your legs are on fire. It's just going to be detrimental in the long term. But most non-gym goers, or most traditional gym goers, probably would have just fought through that and made things worse in the long run, thinking they have to get their session in. More is better. I'm sore, but working through the soreness, it doesn't work that way, man. You can't strength train and break down muscle tissue to speed up recovery. I hate when people say that too. What
yeah,
if I
and
do the elliptical for an hour? Does that speed up recovery? No, sleeping will.
exactly. And what you're saying is so opposite of what I hear in gyms where people are talking, and you see people come in, I'm really still sore from last workout. All right, that's good. That means it worked. We're going to really power through it this time. And I'm thinking, why are you putting this person through something so intense? And it's really more volume and frequency than intensity, because I've never seen anybody push somebody to failure. But there's still, somebody is obviously wiped out, they're dragging, and you say, well, good, we're going to push through that. And they feel like, wow, okay, you made me do this. I'm going to be really healthy now. And it's just the opposite. Yet I think the fitness culture, and maybe because, and this may be a pessimistic view, but I think a lot of gyms and trainers, because they get paid, the more people come in, they're not going to discourage you from coming in, and then you get injured. Oh, well, good. We have the thumper. We have the rollers. We're going to work you through. Come in an extra session. We're going to massage you.
I'll come see our
And
physical therapist and our massage technician. Yeah.
exactly. And I hate to think that they're doing this intentionally. I think it's probably just kind of an autopilot, and they're not even really thinking about this, because they probably do it themselves. I mean, you see trainers training, and some of them have wraps on, some of them are, oh, I really beat myself up yesterday. I'm dying doing this again today. It's like, well, why are you doing it 2 days in a row? So I think they apply to themselves what they're applying to their clients, but I think it's totally incorrect. I don't think that either of them should be doing it.
No, I agree. And something else that just popped in my head that's absolutely hilarious, at least with this profession, and I don't know if other trainers have experienced this, because I've had a lot of jobs in my life, and this is the only job, in my opinion, that when a new person comes in, especially from a traditional big box gym or an F45 or a CrossFit, they come in and immediately start telling me what they need. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hold the phone, or somebody that's never worked out, and oh, I want abs and I want bigger glutes, but I don't want my quads too big. All these, they'll pinch their back fat and say, how do I get rid of this?
Hmm.
Okay, here's what I need. I'll put them on a leg press, and they'll be like, okay, well, how many more sets of that? We need way more of that. I said, no, you need to do that correctly. And they're like, oh, that wasn't good. I'm like, it was approaching terrible. And then we'll get to bad, and then we'll approach awful. Good is about 3 weeks away before you can even do anything that I would consider good. But I would just tell them, brand new people are hilarious. Here's what I need. Here's the order. I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, have you ever been in good shape? Well, no, not really. Okay. Do you think I'm in good shape? Well, yeah, you're huge. You're in great shape. Okay, so you're going to tell me what you need to be doing for something you yourself have never attained, and then they just kind of glaze over. I'm like, you might want to listen to me, or they'll finish a session and they'll say, I had a bunch of people with this because they, most people, excuse my language, shit the bed on the leg press because it's very tough to get precise until you're very, very good. It takes a couple sessions. Now look, we need more legs. We need more legs. And I'll say, if you think you need more legs, you can drive yourself to another gym because you are not doing more legs in my gym.
Good.
Well, this is my space. If you don't like the rules, by all means, I'm blessed to have a waiting list. You can go ahead and leave. And then they never leave, and they come back and they listen. And as soon as they take the time to knock one out of the park and their pupils dilate with the panic, and they go, okay, yeah, we're good with one. Yeah, you're good with one because you don't need a second once you do it correctly. But it's always funny, the new people come in and they tell you here's what we need to be doing. Like, it does not work that way in here.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about that driving to the gym. I think I worked out, yes, it was yesterday morning. And I was thinking it's odd because I remember when I was younger going to a gym and you join a new gym and of course they want to evaluate you, they want to put you through and I'm like, I don't need any of that nonsense. I know what I'm doing. And to be fair to me, I probably did because I had always, for the most part, I veered in and out, but it was mostly high intensity training. So I kind of knew what I did and I knew what they did, and they were polar opposites. So it would have wasted my time. But then I think of all the people who go in there to regular gyms and they don't know what they're doing, but they think they do, and they're like, no, I don't need that. It's like, what's worse, that or going to a trainer in a traditional gym who's going to have them on the Bosu ball and have them doing the battle ropes? It's like, oh gosh, you either go in and you don't know what you're doing, or you go to somebody who thinks they know what they're doing, but not really giving you the best advice. It's tough out there.
Yeah, it is. And I think, for people listening, if you do go to a big box gym and you see a big guy that is in shape, like a lot of people are like intimidated to ask them questions. Like anytime anyone's ever approached me or I've ever seen anybody approach someone else that's in shape and says, hey, do you know how to do this? Can you show me how to do this? We're all really nice about it. Like no one's going to tease you. Nobody's going to make fun of you. We're going to be like, absolutely, here, let's get your seat setting, just ask questions. You don't necessarily have to hire their trainer for them to kick the crap out of you, but if you don't know what you're doing, don't be embarrassed to ask somebody. Most people in the gym are really, really nice, especially the people that are already in great shape. They like to help other people. Like, yes, we want to see you back.
Right.
I want to see you absolutely shredded next year. Yes, I'm going to give you a big high five. Like, we're all here for the same reason, man. But if you know you're doing something incorrectly, don't ask a question. Most people are really kind about it.
Yeah, and I love that. I will throw in one caveat. A lot of times people will go and look at the person who is in the best shape in the gym and think they know what they're doing. They're going to be my trainer. That's not true. Most of those people either, I don't want to say they're all on some sort of performance enhancing drug, but they may or may not be, but they have great genetics. So they could really be doing anything and look great. It's just like, Tiger Woods' coach would never win a game against Tiger Woods, but Tiger Woods would never have been as good if he didn't have that coach because that coach taught him so much. The coach at the gym doesn't have to look the best, but does have to have the most amount of knowledge. That said, there is nothing wrong with going up to anybody in the gym who is in good shape who you say, they know how to use that machine. I just saw them get off it. Can they show me how to do it? They're not training you. They're showing you how to properly use a piece of equipment, which is so important. You're going to end up hurting yourself or not getting the most benefit out of that piece of machinery if you don't know what you're doing on it.
Correct. Yeah, ask some questions. It might be advantageous in the long run.
Yeah, that is the absolute truth. I can't believe we're down to our last minute already. This
All right, this
flew
is fun, man.
by.
These fly by. This is awesome.
They do. It gives us more for down the road. But Any closing thoughts on this? I know we kind of really focused on recovery. We kind of debunked a little bit of functional fitness. Anything else you want to throw in there?
No, I mean, I'm appreciating that people watch it, and I'm going to put it on the page. And if you guys could actually comment, because a lot of these people have me on Facebook or have my phone number, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. They're like, "Oh, that podcast is awesome. Listen to it." Like it. And if you have any questions pertaining to what John and I should be talking about, leave it in the comments section. Like, if you genuinely, we said, ask questions. Like, this is why we are here. So don't hit me up on Facebook Messenger or text. Leave it in the comments section, and that might spark some conversation for some future podcast material, but we're just here to help you guys. So I'm having a blast with this. This is fun.
This is, and if you're enjoying it, of course, if depending on the platform it's on, like it, share it. A lot of people can benefit from this. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. It may ruffle some feathers. This episode may as well, but that's okay. I mean, we're here to share our knowledge, and if you feel it's helpful, send it to a friend, send it to a relative, send it to a gym buddy. Post it on your page if you think it was, wow, this was really good.
Yeah.
Don't keep it to yourselves.
Awesome, man. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday.
All
So.
right, sounds good.
All right.